The year is 589 BC. Jerusalem, perched atop its rugged hills, seems untouchable. Its walls are thick, its temples sacred, its people confident. Most imagine an army charging in, breaking gates in a single night. But the truth is more terrifying. A city can die quietly, slowly, under a patient siege. This was not a storm, it was a trap. Not chaos, but inevitability. On this channel we uncover history not as legend but as systems at work. We follow the unseen forces' strategy, discipline, and time that shape events more than swords or valor. We study the fall of cities, the rise of empires, and the quiet decisions that echo through centuries. Today we will trace the slow, deliberate destruction of Jerusalem at the hands of Babylon. This is not merely a story of a city taken, it is a story of why pride and faith alone cannot withstand systems honed over generations. Why Jerusalem, the city that felt invincible, would never stand again in the same way. And why the consequences of its fall would ripple far beyond its walls, reshaping a people and a world. To understand Jerusalem's fall, we must step back a generation. The Assyrian Empire had fallen. Babylon, under Nebuchadnezzar II, was ascendant. By 605 BC, Babylon dominated Mesopotamia, its military, a blend of discipline, engineering, and logistics. Judah, a small kingdom with a proud history, found itself squeezed between Egypt and Babylon. Its kings had played a delicate game of diplomacy, pledges of loyalty, tribute, and occasional rebellion. Jerusalem's walls were strong, but walls are only as resilient as the decisions behind them. Zedekiah, king of Judah, inherited a city teetering between survival and defiance. He faced impossible choices: submit and lose autonomy, or resist and risk total destruction. Each alliance and betrayal was a move in a larger chess game of empires. Jerusalem's economy and supply lines were fragile. The city could withstand an attack, but not a prolonged siege. Babylon, by contrast, had mastered logistics: grain stores, supply convoys, and engineering corps capable of maintaining encirclements for years. Time itself would become their weapon. The patterns were clear to those who observed history. Empires fall not merely from battles, but from the patient exhaustion of will, resources, and options. Jerusalem had become a test of endurance. In 589 BC, Zedekiah defied Babylon outright. His rebellion, driven by hope, desperation, and misjudgment, crossed the line. Nebuchadnezzar had waited years, tolerated minor defiance, and calculated every cost. Now patience would turn lethal. Babylonian forces encircled the city. They did not storm, they built. Earthworks, siege ramps, watchtowers, every effort was designed to outlast the defenders. Soldiers labored in summer heat and winter cold. Supplies were calculated to sustain years of waiting. This was no chaotic attack, it was a deliberate tightening of a noose. Every day inside Jerusalem, food ran lower, water became scarce, morale slipped. Every day outside, Babylonian engineers adapted, repaired, and reinforced. The critical moment was not a single battle, it was the decision to allow time to become the primary weapon. Nebuchadnezzar's patience would prove more lethal than any sword. Inside the walls, life turned into a crucible of decisions, leaders argued. Warriors wanted to break out, risking annihilation. Civilians pleaded for mercy, for strategies that might buy a few days more. Disease spread through the narrow streets, and starvation became an invisible siege weapon of its own. Every ration counted. Every decision carried weight. A single misstep could doom families, soldiers, and the city itself. Faith alone could not feed the mouths of thousands, and yet pride resisted surrender. Outside, Babylonian soldiers maintained discipline under the harsh sun, repairing breaches, reinforcing walls, rotating patrols. The siege tested patience on both sides. Inside Jerusalem, desperation grew. Outside, discipline held. The tension was a slow crescendo, not cinematic explosions, but a psychological warfare that would crush resolve without a single major battle. It was the ultimate test of control. Can a city's spirit survive when the world conspires to starve it of everything it trusts? 587 BC. After 2 years, the inevitable arrived. Jerusalem's walls gave way. Exhaustion, starvation, and careful engineering had done what armies in open battle could not. Babylonian soldiers entered methodically, destroying palaces, leveling fortifications, and burning the temple, the spiritual and political heart of the city. Thousands were executed. Tens of thousands were deported to Babylon. The survivors faced exile, poverty, and the erasure of political autonomy. This was not a chaotic sack. It was precision through patience. Victory was achieved not by bravery alone, but by superior planning, logistics, and understanding human psychology. The fall of Jerusalem was the result of a system perfected over decades. Patient, methodical, inevitable. The consequences were immediate and enduring. Judah ceased as a sovereign kingdom. Babylon extended its control, solidifying influence over trade, politics, and religion. The deportation of elites created the Babylonian exile, reshaping culture, faith, and identity. Jerusalem's destruction became central to collective memory. Sacred texts were codified, traditions preserved, and the narrative of exile framed identity for centuries. Religions and empires would all learn from this moment. Patience, logistics, and psychological strategy could topple cities far stronger than the armies that stormed them. Regionally, the siege demonstrated the lethal power of endurance over impulse. Future empires from Persia to Rome applied similar strategies: outlast, outthink, and use time as a weapon. Jerusalem's fall was a warning that walls and faith alone cannot defeat disciplined systems. History remembers the siege not for the bravery of soldiers, but for the inevitability of decisions made by kings, generals, and empires who understood the calculus of control. The fall of Jerusalem in 587 BC teaches a quiet, terrifying truth. Empires do not always win by force. They win by patience, discipline, and understanding systems greater than themselves. What other cities fell not from sudden battles, but from the slow, inevitable weight of strategy? What other empires reshaped the world through time, logistics, and unyielding calculation? Comment below which historical turning point we should dissect next. Subscribe and follow us as we uncover the systems and decisions behind history's most consequential moments.